Hello, everyone. Warm welcome to our Eileen Fisher Women Together Connect. My name is Antoinette, and I'm navigating the shadows today, so excuse my lighting. It's good to see everyone. I'm our host and very grateful for our lovely team who supports these connect moments, and really glad to be here together and just see some familiar faces. We had a wonderful guest teacher with us last week, and this week we're in a community of practice. So the invitation is that we'll do a little grounding practice. We'll explore a tiny practice of today, and then we'll move into breakouts and just get a chance to connect with each other. And for those of us in Zoom, that's an opportunity to turn to each other in small groups and connect. And that is really where the magic happens, where we get to really explore the opportunity of having a little bit of a deeper dialogue than we might get to have on an everyday basis. And then we will come back to each other in the larger group and have a dialogue here in Zoom. So if you're joining on Zoom today, that is the plan. If you're on YouTube, you can practice with us and then go on your merry way. It's lovely to see where we're all coming from. So if you can type into the chat and share in Zoom or in YouTube, in the comments or in the chat section, just share where you're coming from today, and we'll get a little map of our community here. So we've got Sweden right up top, Winchester, Massachusetts, Tampa, Florida. Ooh, chilly and foggy Felton, California. So interesting. I don't always think of California as cold this time of year, but I was in California fairly recently and felt right. It does get cold. It does get chilly, and it feels colder than I might have imagined. So chilly and foggy. Rainy Portugal today. Wintry evening in Vienna. Columbus, Ohio, Hudson Valley, sunny Ossining, Berkeley, sunny, cold Toronto. See, that's where I would imagine, the cold happening. Los Angeles, California, snowy Bloomfield, Connecticut, White Plains, New York. Good to have you here. Wisconsin and Prescott, Arizona. So good. Good to see some familiar faces and friends. And good to be together again. And if you're just joining first time, a warm welcome to you as well. It's a joy to come together and to connect. And I've been thinking a bit about our Women Together space and kind of what we're using it for and how we're building our community, or what we're doing here. And whenever I get together with a group of women. Last week, I think I met a small group of women and we had dinner together, and it was maybe 5 of us. And it was just such a beautiful connection. And so, all these places where I'm seeing, oh, wouldn't it be just so great if we got a group of women together and, we just build each other up and we laugh together and we learn from one another. And I was like, do you know that I run this thing called Women Together? But, it's like, it's that magic. It's that little bit of something that happens when we get together in small groups or large groups, and we can feel each other and hear each other in a way that that can be very special. So there's a lot of joy in bringing this community together, and a lot to consider as we move forward. So I'd like to invite us to just land here in the space. This is one of our first tiny practices that we do every time we're here together. Just a little moment of stillness. And the idea with this moment of stillness is to just cultivate a little bit of inner awareness. So it's not trying to make it be something or do something else, just being with what's here for a moment or two. So I'd like to invite you to feel your feet on the ground, if that's an available option for you. Just feel a sense of connection to the earth. And if you can lower your gaze or close your eyes, or even just take your vision away from the screen for a moment. Just focus on something with a light, soft gaze. Often we are so focused on something. We're trying to make something happen. We're going for it. And even with our vision, we're doing that. So just giving our eyes, giving our vision a little moment to just rest. And as you let the outward gaze rest, perhaps tuning into an inward gaze, just noticing how we're actually doing today. And first, just noticing the body, noticing the feet and the connection to the floor. And feeling the gaze moving up the legs, up the body, from the tailbone up to the trunk of the body, to the shoulders and the top of the head. Just noticing as you scan with the inner gaze, just noticing if there's any tension today. If there's any part of the body that feels really good right now. And not doing anything to shift or change it, but just being with whatever is here today, just being with the body. And when you're ready, we'll turn our energy and awareness back to the screen, back to our connection with each other. I'm just noticing we're going to go into this topic of stretching ourselves today and noticing what comes up for you about stretching ourselves, and maybe what brought you here today. And we can just type into the chat what brought you here today. Maybe it's something having to do with a topic, or maybe it's just connecting with other women. I know we hear that a lot. So just what comes up for you when considering what brought you here today? Beautiful faces, Lisa says. You can type it into the chat or into the comment space. Great. So I see a number of different pieces here. Commitment to myself, learning, appreciation of all of it, connection, encouragement to move outside my comfort zone, connection and curiosity, like-minded conversation with these great women, to sing our women's song together, Marianne, connecting, says Anne, a comfortable space, a welcoming space, connection with myself and others, meaningful connection and conversation, community with women, interesting conversations, escaping to a different reality, learning from all of you. Good. So we have a number of different pieces that have brought us here today. And I'm sure there's more. Gosh, the shadows. Anyway, let's see. Yeah. So I think there's more coming in from the, let's see. Checking in on stretching. I see how I can stretch and what comes up. Good. So there's a few things about this topic that I've been thinking about. And one is physically, I always go to physically, what does it actually mean in the body? But also, I think a lot of what we talk about and we dive into here is going a little deeper than we normally do. And Eileen calls herself a depth junkie. And I think, what one of the things that we've talked about in Women Together is, part of the reason that, a lot of people are drawn to the Eileen Fisher world is because we feel comfortable in our bodies when I'm wearing the sweater and I feel so comfortable in my body and in my clothing. And how do I actually feel comfortable in the inner space? And sometimes that requires a little bit more of a stretch. So sometimes it requires a bit more than what I might normally do. And I love, Deborah in the chat just wrote, stretching myself is a continual struggle. And that can mean overcommitment and stepping outside of comfort zones. So there's a few different pieces there. Sometimes I'm overstretched, right? Like I'm all the way out. I'm in 700 different places. I'm trying to do this over here and that over there. And I can't even, so just coming back to center. And then some of it is just finding where is it that I'm in here too much. And I'm, sort of in my comfort zone. I'm in my comfort space. And I could stretch out a little bit more. I could open myself up a little more. So just checking in with yourself today. Where am I? Am I kind of overstretched already where I'm, taking on so many different things and people, and I'm maybe outside of myself a little bit? I find that when I'm overstretched, I almost can't tune into what's right for Antoinette. I'm just so far into like, okay, and how does Kathleen feel? And how does, Karen and Ethan and whoever else, and what's going on and how can I support them and what's happening? Or which organization, and especially a lot of my work in the foundation is connecting with a lot of organizations. So I dive into what they need, that I totally lose the connection to Antoinette. And then sometimes I get so connected to Antoinette and what she needs, what's going on, that I just sort of lose touch with the outer space. And both are important, but it's about finding the place where the rubber band is at the right stretch, where the ability to move in and out is in harmony. So I'd love to just do a little bit of connection inwards and maybe just journal for a moment. That's a good way to get it down. And then we'll do some physical stretching, because I find that the body knows. The body doesn't lie. The body knows what's up. And we can see where there's tension, and we can see where there's movement and opportunity. So let's, if you can find a piece of paper and a pen, that's always a great place to start with journaling. And when you have that moment to journal, you can just perhaps write down, where is it that I'm currently overstretched? So just writing down for yourself, where is it that I'm currently overstretched? Then just noticing, where is it that I'm in my comfort zone? So the second question, where am I in my comfort zone? The place that I feel really, everything is cozy and I don't need to, yeah, I feel very safe. I feel in control. And maybe control is sort of an illusion, but the idea of it feels good. I feel like I know what's going on here. Where is it that I'm in my comfort zone? And then tuning into, where is it that I'm currently learning or growing? So where is it that, and often these two are kind of conflated, or sometimes it's like, people are like, I'm learning and then I'm growing in this zone model. But where is it that I'm learning and or growing right now? And this is often what we, hear of as the stretch zone. So we've got a comfort zone, a stretch zone, and then the panic zone. So where you're overstretched may be the panic zone, but where you're kind of currently learning and growing, that is known as the stretch zone. And then perhaps next to these three things, the comfort, stretch, and grow and panic zones, you could write down, how do I respond or how do I behave? What are some behaviors that happen in each of these zones? So just noticing, when I'm in my comfort zone, what happens? When I'm in my kind of overstretched, um, maybe it's panic, maybe not. And when I'm in my learning and growth zone, you could write down behaviors or feelings. So you might feel something, and that causes you to act a certain way, or you just act that way and you don't really take time to feel. Either way, it's just seeing what comes up. And then when you're ready, we can reconnect with the screen, and we're going to just do a little bit of stretching. Um, And what I love about being in the body is that it always tells us something. So the invitation with this practice is I'm going to give some suggestions of how you might want to move your body. And you get to decide whether or not you want to do that. And also, the biggest thing is that you get to notice where there's tension and where there's still some possibility. So just noticing, where is it really comfortable? Where is it that I feel like, oh, I'm actually stretching? And where is it that there's some tension there and I'm not going to go there? So just noticing where it is for you, and we'll see what happens. So we're just going to do a little in the chair stretch. So chair yoga. And what I'd like to do is take your fingers and interlace them. And then it becomes a little basket in front of you, so you can see the little basket. And you're going to flip the basket out towards the computer screen. And you're going to go out towards the computer and up and overhead. From here, just notice, how are my shoulders right now? How does that feel? And from this place, then you're going to lean one direction. Take a breath. Inhale and then exhale. Just noticing, how are my ribs? Can I turn my neck up towards the ceiling? Is that not a good idea today? And just inhale and exhale here. Inhale up to center. And I know we're also holding these hands in place. So just noticing, if this isn't right for you, what's feeling right, what's not. And leaning to the other side. Noticing the difference on this side. Perhaps you feel more or less in the rib cage or in the back. Coming back to center, popping the fingers out and letting them come down and round to the sides of the body. Just inhale and exhale here. Just feel the tingling in the arms. We had our arms up for a little while, and just noticing the feeling of that. We're going to do that one more time. And now you know a little bit about what your comfort zone is, what your stretch zone is, and what might be a little bit of tension or overstretching. So with all of that into account, noticing, what's the body ready for? What's it looking forward to? And we're going to clasp our hands together again. Flip the basket forward towards the computer, lift it up and overhead. Inhale. Exhale, lean to one side. Inhale again. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the other side. And inhale back to center. Exhale, and then pop the fingers and release. And then fix the clothes. Just noticing again, does it feel different? Do you feel a little looser now? Do you feel a little bit more openness in the shoulders? Then we're going to inhale, and we're going to bring our left hand to our right knee. So what I'd like to do on the inhale is just encourage you to find uplift in the spine. So uplift, and then place the left hand just above the right knee, more on the thigh than putting any pressure on the knee. And as you inhale, you're going to begin to turn your torso. So as if your rib cage is kind of spinning around the spine, as if it was sort of able to do that, just around the spine. And as you do that, you can place your right hand on the back of the chair, if that helps. And you can just notice, where is it that I start to get to a point that's really it. That's as far as I'm going to go. And we're not using the neck to turn. We're using the rib cage to feel the turn around the spine. Just following the gaze, but feeling into the body. Where is it that this feels really right? Or it feels like I'm stretching, or I'm overstretching. Just noticing. And then coming back to center. And then inhale again, uplift. Exhale, bring the right hand to the left knee and the left hand to the back of the chair. Inhale up and then exhale, turn slowly the rib cage. Again, not turning the neck, but really turning the rib cage slowly. Just feeling the sensations, noticing, and then coming back to center when you're ready. And then I'd like us to do just a little cat-cow, so a little bit of movement of the spine. And we can place your hands just on your legs, and we'll lift the chin and the chest, and we'll find a little bit of the belly kind of pouring out forward, and the pelvis tipping a little bit. So just lifting all the way up, and again, noticing, where is this a little too much? Where does it feel totally right? And then exhale, release, and just round the chin down, the shoulders over, tucking the tailbone so the pelvis comes up towards the chin, the belly button goes back to the spine. Exhaling everything out. And we'll do that 2 more times on your own breath. So inhale, lifting the chin, the chest, the collarbones, letting the belly pour out, tipping the tailbone the other direction. And on the exhale, releasing the chin, the chest, the collarbones, and curling the shoulders forward, the tailbone underneath, and the belly button to the back of the spine. Do one more. And again, just noticing, oh, this feels really good. I know this feeling, or, oh, that little shoulder opener is a little bit tricky. So just noticing what's there in the body. And last time, exhaling out. And then coming back to a neutral spine and just closing your eyes for a moment. Feeling the breath moving in and out. Just noticing where in the body does it feel really good? Where in the body do you feel tension? And is that tension stretching that allows for more movement, more flow? Or is it a stretching that could cause any kind of harm? And asking the body, asking those places that may have had a bit of tension, what is it trying to say? What is it trying to tell you? Perhaps some parts of the body are saying, move more. And perhaps some parts of the body are saying, let me rest. Time for quiet and stillness. If you received any messages from the body, you can write them down now. And then we'll go into a little breakout zone. So you can write down what came up, messages from the body. And then for those of you in YouTube, we will let you move on with your day. And for those of us in Zoom, we will turn to each other in breakouts, share our name, where we're coming from, and anything that came up in this practice. And we'll have about 20 minutes together. So enjoy the time in breakouts. Thank you all for practicing, and I'll see you on the other side of the breakouts.